Welcome. Thanks for tuning in today, and thanks for following this investment knowledge series. And we are pretty much in the end of it. Though whenever I come across things that which can inspire me to speak up, probably I'm going to make videos on and off on investing, which will be also saved in my playlist separately on investing, so that you can go back and refer anytime you want to see it. So let's say, okay, we did all understand how it works, etc. Now it's let's see what is a discipline you need to have it for you to constantly doing it, irrespective of how the market goes, is not your worry. But what kind of a disciplines can give you um, a, a marginal returns when you think of investing? However, and based on whichever the capacity that you can have in investing. Now let's talk about discipline in investing. Now see, whenever we get motivated, we just go like same like I bought in a mutual fund, and that is the one big investment I did at that point of time, and that's it. And then I never think of mutual funds anytime from then. But then if I would had a discipline of investing, say not 1 lakh at once, but say 10,000 every month for 10 years, 10,000 every month for 20 years. So that's where the systematic investment plan comes. So it doesn't matter how the market fluctuates. As I said, mutual funds are directly based on whichever the funds you choose is directly linked to a market performance. So indirectly, you are investing in a stocks basically with a marginal fees, minimal fees. So if I would had that investments of systematically invested 10,000 in a same fund for over a period of 10 years, I would have increased the average value of my net net asset value, and then whatever whenever the price increases would have been a good return. So that those are the mistakes we made. So it doesn't matter. So discipline is very important. So okay, now we get once motivated, you just invest and then expect that pretty much to returns. Pretty much you need to wait for a long line to see the bigger results. Because see, when with the expenses what we have, giving a 10% return probably feel nothing, but then it doesn't mean that the 10% is 10%. 10% is better than a zero. 10% is better than a debt what you have in your account. So understanding is that when you start this discipline, and eventually you pick up the momentum, and then you will start investing more and more, because when you start seeing the taste, when I looked at the real estate as having a good potential, and I started investing in the real estate, and whatever all the small things what you do, I'm always pushing that into the real estate wherever and whenever I get an opportunities to invest, thinking that if it not helps me, it's going to help my kids. So those are the things that you can think in ahead. If you think about only yourself and say, okay, 5 years down the line, this is not going to give me, 10 years down the line, this is not going to give me, and you're not going to reach anywhere. You reach 40, 50 years, you're thinking it's going to be the same thing, but then that's not going to help you anyways, in terms of investing. So a discipline and a systematically is very important. Now let's say I cannot beat the understand I cannot do every month. So let's say you have two kids, and you and your family and your mother and father. Now why don't you start thinking about whatever the amount you can think of investing in a birthdays. Every time, suppose you make it a commitment that it doesn't matter what it is. So if you have a money to spend 10 to 20,000 on a birthday of anybody, I mean, you can spend a portion of it for your future investment, or for your kids' future investment, or it matter the fact, doesn't matter on which name you're investing. End of the day, your family is getting benefited out of it. So that is the most important thing that you need to think. So think about a target of a birthdays, any birthdays which you come, say in a year. So when you look at it, see, it applies the same way in a systematic investment plan. Whereas probably you're going to month on month on a particular date, rather you decide on your birthdays. And I'm sure that not everybody is born on a same month and a same day. So your first son birthday will be on May. The second kid would be probably in somewhere in December. Probably your birthday falls into somewhere in June. So it is all again, split and separated. So if you even have a concept of investing for each and every birthday of your family members, that would also be, and so you're not focusing on how the market is doing, you're just focusing on how you want to invest and whatever you decided to invest and wherever you decided to invest. So that will give you also over a period of time edge of balancing up irrespective of how the market moves. Now, second important thing that I want you to uh, sink in, and try to understand. Now, think about your necessities. Now, at the end of the month, say you are in a rented property, so you are paying a rent of 10,000 rupees. Say that entire comes with the electricity bill about say 1,000 rupees to 2,000 rupees. So, and if you are staying in a rented apartment in a society, it comes with the maintenance about 3,000 to 4,000. And then you can name many of the necessities. If you are a mode of transportation, the expenses you incur for the petrol. See, there are so many things that we spend because you have to spend, and it is mandatory, because if you don't do that expenses, you're not going to move further. Stopping your mobile bill because you didn't have money is going to stop your services, stop your communication. Stopping your electricity bill, if you don't pay on time, someone is going to come and cut the electricity where you're not going to get electricity. Same thing with the maintenance, same thing with the rent. See, this you are doing it by hook or crook. It doesn't matter uh, that these investments on an average of 20,000 to 25,000, you are doing it. It doesn't matter. Nothing. If you stop any of those commitments or unnecessaries, pretty much you're going to suffer. Either you need to compromise, say, okay, I don't need an internet connection for another 3 months, fair enough, and I don't need electricity for 3 months, fair enough. But then that's not the case. We are finding a ways to, put that bills on time so that you can continue to use the services. But my point of understanding you what you wanted to get out of it is that why don't you have a similar commitment for your investments? I'm not saying that you need to say if entire your commitment costs you about 25,000. By hook or crook you're doing it, doesn't matter, because if you don't do that, you don't see either of those services continued further. But then if you have a similar commitment, say 10% of this entire amount, 10% of that entire amount, you should decide. I said doesn't matter, same like what you're doing for 25,000, you can stretch that 10% and 15% maximum. I mean, again, wherever the bracket you fall into, say entire your expenses. So you say, okay, 10%, but hook or crook, I know it is difficult sometimes. Probably sometimes whatever the salaries we make is you're barely surviving or barely, but then there are ways that you can think, where you can cut corners. I'm not saying that you need to live below your means by any means. We're doing it all this because to have a stable lifestyle, so that we move forward without having debts or getting into the debts, and which in turn will have problems in a different way for you and your family members. But the idea is that if you're committed enough to 20,000 a month, say for example, I'm sure you can pull out 2,000 out of it. Say your electricity bill amount here, or else you decide, okay, every time I pay electricity, whatever the amount it is, and I'm going to pay the same to my investment by hook or crook. So these are the commitments you need to decide by yourself, which will in turn will give you the returns over a period of time. But if you think that that's I can stretch 20, but then stretching another 2,000 is not not, I cannot do that, then you need to ask your obvious questions that if you stretch, you're going to have a better financial future. I mean, otherwise you're still going to struggle moving further. Now, luxury items, when I say it is a time bound opportunities, I would say buying a phone, buying a mobile, or buying your a car, buying your motorcycle, and whatever the things which is a time bound, so the lifespan is anywhere between 5 to 10 years or 6 to 7 years, whatever it is. But then on those ones, if you think if it is a necessity, it is very important for your business or for yourself, for your communication, then you need to think. But then just because you have to change because everyone around you is changing, is not the right thing. So there is one more video also. I will come up on the things that what I had mismanaged my finances just because I need to show up, or that's whole mentality. Other than when you're young, that's how you think that, okay, I need to have different watches, I need to have different clothing, every day I need to, because see, as long as you feel what is best for you is what you should do. Don't worry about how other things about you, because end of the day these are not going to matter. End of the day, how you can manage your finances, how you can keep yourself even at the time of difficult times to control all your beat that inflation and stay in without getting into debt, and supporting your family. That gives you more joy and more satisfaction than pretty much buying a 40,000 phone and look back, which has no value after 2 months. You buy something and then it didn't have any value if you want to sell it back also. So any of these items, that when you think that you have enough, and then at the same time you have a discipline of that, whatever the things which you are investing, which don't have any value, uh, say for example buying a car. I'm not saying that buying a car doesn't have value. If you really think that there's the only way of commuting for you, for yourself, is, then you must go and buy it. But then it doesn't have any value. First of all, if you buy it in a loan, you're paying pretty much double the amount, whereas the cost of the item, even you want to sell it after say 2 or 3 years, the depreciation goes down way high. Use the transportation like a Uber, Ola, XYZ, just so that you just use it forever. And then think about how long your car is sitting in a car park if you're not commuting for the work, and then just because you need to have a car, and then you bought in a year, say once in a month, you're taking the car out just because you need to make sure that people should see that you have a car, or once in a month that you need to utilize a car because, and that's how you think that you want to do it. It's a different story, we could all together. But when you get into the finances, you will understand what is important, what is least important, what you can do better with what you have. And eventually you will throw all these nonsense impressions which can come to you and influence you, by the way. So that again, education, the more you learn, the more you earn, basically. So, and then you can talk it as a piggy bank or whatever. So whatever on the birthday you can get there, and whatever the necessities of 10% you can get there, and the luxuries if you can get into it. So eventually you will build a little bit of corpus, and then moving wherever you want to do it in terms of whatever the opportunities you have is most important thing. So with that note, I would like to leave it today, and I wish you have a wonderful day, and I hope this helped you and having a discipline. And I would like to thank you for following this series. And as I said, I'll be coming up with as and when I feel there is a point that I would put across, I will be doing these videos so that you can benefit. And then if you like this video, you can share with your friends and families where they can benefit, and then spread the message around. Be good to grow, influence people around you. Thank you so much for watching this series, and I wish you a wonderful day and a wonderful financial freedom ahead of your life. And if you do have any questions and thoughts, and you can leave me in comments whatever the things that I know I can share. I'm not saying that I'm an expert on this field, but then there are things that I learned from the experiences, from the mistakes I made. So that's the most important thing, is that there are many of us who does, we go through these kind of situations. End of the day, sharing is caring. So if you tell, somewhere, even if it helps this entire series for one person, for him to take a decision on investing, I'll be more than happy that my efforts made them to take those calls. And as I said, everything is information is right in front of our hands. All you need to ask the right questions, and then with the right questions, and then analyzing yourself as your own judgment, rather than just following blindly what other people are saying, is most important thing. And that can come only through the education which you can develop yourself over a period of time. And with that note, again, I would like to leave you today. Stay tuned, stay blessed, have a wonderful day ahead, and have a wonderful financial freedom moving forward in your personal and professional lives. Thank you once again.